The cracks in Poppy Nozawa's perfect mask began to show the moment news broke that Luna had been arrested. The once glamorous and self-assured woman known in Los Angeles elite circles as a sharp, pragmatic survivor stood frozen as reporters screamed questions at her. Cameras caught every flicker of her expression, or rather, the stunning absence of one. No tears, no panic, no plea for understanding, just stillness, cold, composed, and detached. The public called it monstrous. To the world, Poppy looked like a mother who didn't care that her daughter was behind bars. But to those who knew her best, that eerie composure could only mean one thing: she was hiding something. The truth was far more tangled than anyone could have imagined. For years, Poppy had constructed an image of calm independence, the devoted mother who sacrificed everything for her daughter's future. But the truth was that she had been living on the edge of disaster long before Luna's arrest. The debts, the favors, the dangerous people she'd once relied on when she was young, desperate, and broke. Every smile she wore, every measured gesture, was part of a performance designed to keep that past buried. And when Luna was taken away, Poppy's silence wasn't indifference, it was terror. Because she knew that the past she'd fought to bury was clawing its way to the surface. Rumors spread fast. Steffi Forrester, never one to hold back, accused Poppy of being heartless, whispering that perhaps she was guilty of more than bad parenting. Lee Finnegan, caught between family loyalty and medical ethics, watched from the sidelines, knowing that her sister's calm exterior was nothing but armor. Even Bill Spencer, who had once shared a fleeting connection with Poppy, noticed the shift. "You're to calm," he said during one of their tense meetings at Il Giardino. "When a mother loses her daughter, she either fights or breaks. You're doing neither." Why? Poppy said nothing. She stirred her drink and changed the subject. But privately, she was crumbling. Every night she stared at the same message on her phone, a message from an unknown number that had been haunting her for weeks before Luna's arrest. It was a single sentence: "You owe me." Attached was a photo from years ago. A younger Poppy, wild-eyed and desperate, standing beside a man whose face was half in shadow. It was a reminder of a deal she had made long ago, one that she never expected to come due. When Luna was taken, the messages stopped. But the silence only made it worse. When Luna's case became front-page news, Poppy tried to maintain her performance. She gave carefully worded statements to the press. She attended fundraisers. She stood in the courthouse hallways with sunglasses and poise. But the mask began to crack in subtle ways: missed calls, sleepless nights, trembling hands. Ridge Forrester noticed. So did Hope Logan, who couldn't help but feel pity for the woman whose daughter's downfall mirrored the same pain she'd endured in her own family. Then came the breaking point. Weeks after Luna's supposed death was reported, an error that shook the city and left Steffi and Finn reeling. News broke that she was, in fact, alive. Traumatized, missing, but alive. And that was the moment Poppy's walls collapsed completely. The reveal happened live at a press conference intended to clear Forrester Creations' name from the Luna scandal. The media had gathered, Ridge standing tall at the podium, Steffi by his side, ready to make a statement about the company's commitment to justice. Poppy had been invited reluctantly, her presence a PR necessity. When the doors opened and Luna appeared fragile, pale, trembling, the world stopped. Cameras flashed. Reporters screamed her name, and Poppy fell to her knees. She didn't run to her daughter immediately. She didn't even speak at first. She just stared, lips quivering, the blood draining from her face. For the first time in her life, Poppy couldn't act, couldn't lie, couldn't control the story. When Luna reached her, the embrace was messy, frantic, soaked in tears. Poppy whispered apologies over and over, words that sounded rehearsed but cracked halfway through. The cameras caught it all. Her trembling hands, her voice breaking, her eyes darting toward the press as if terrified not of the public shame, but of who might be watching from afar. Later that evening, the footage went viral. The hashtags exploded. For Givebaby trended alongside Luna Lives. But in the quiet aftermath, when the cameras were gone and Luna was recovering at the hospital, the real story unfolded in a scene so raw that even seasoned soap fans were stunned. Poppy appeared at the hospital unannounced, demanding to see her daughter. When she entered Luna's room, the younger woman turned away, her face half lit by moonlight. "Why didn't you fight for me?" Luna whispered, her voice trembling. "Why didn't you do anything?" Poppy stood frozen. The silence between them stretched like a knife. Finally, she spoke not in defense, but in confession. "Because if I did," she said quietly, "they would have taken you from me for good." Luna turned. "Who?" Poppy shook her head. "People I should never have trusted. People I thought were gone. When I saw you behind bars, I thought if I tried to help, they'd find me. They'd find us. And I couldn't risk that. I couldn't lose you again." The truth spilled out in fragments. The debts. The deals. The years spent running under new names. The reason she kept her life compartmentalized and her emotions locked away. Luna listened in shock as her mother painted a picture of survival that bordered on tragedy, a woman who had clawed her way out of darkness only to be dragged back by it the moment her daughter's name hit the headlines. By the time Poppy finished, she was sobbing openly, no longer the cool, untouchable woman the public had mocked. The scene between mother and daughter became one of the most emotionally charged moments in The Bold and the Beautiful's recent history, a breaking point that transformed Poppy from a side character into the center of a storm. The next day, the media caught wind of the confession. Poppy faced a crowd outside the hospital. Reporters shouted questions about her past, about Luna's case, about the secrets she had tried so hard to bury. And instead of running, she stopped. She turned to the cameras, eyes red, voice steady. "You want the truth?" she said. "Fine. I was scared. I made mistakes. I hurt people. But I did it because I thought I was protecting my daughter. I thought I was saving her. I was wrong. I see that now. And if the world wants to judge me for that, go ahead. I'm done hiding." The footage of her public breakdown went viral within minutes. Some saw it as redemption. Others saw it as manipulation. But no one could deny the impact. Forrester Creations immediately distanced itself from the scandal, but privately, Ridge and Steffi knew this was far from over. The Nozawa name had become radioactive. And yet, for Luna, the moment marked a turning point. Seeing her mother finally shatter the facade gave her the courage to begin healing. She forgave, but not fully. Trust would take time. As for Poppy, the weeks that followed were a haze of consequences. Financial investigations, media scrutiny, public sympathy mixed with suspicion. Her quiet confession had opened a door she couldn't close. But in the strange poetry of The Bold and the Beautiful, her collapse became her salvation. For the first time in years, she stopped running. She stood before her daughter, the world, and herself, stripped of glamour, stripped of lies, finally human. And though the world still whispered about her past, though the cameras still followed her every move, Poppy Nozawa had done something she hadn't managed in decades. She told the truth. And the truth, as messy and painful as it was, set her free. The chaos surrounding the Nozawa family reached a breaking point when the police arrived at Forrester Creations just after dawn. Reporters had already camped outside the glass lobby, waiting for a headline, and they got one. Poppy Nozawa, dressed in a simple gray coat, was escorted out by officers while flashbulbs exploded across the parking lot. Her head was bowed, but the cameras caught her trembling hands. She wasn't resisting. She wasn't shouting her innocence. She simply walked, surrounded by flashing lights and questions. "Ms. Nozawa, is it true you interfered in the investigation? Poppy, did you take evidence from the hospital? Do you have anything to say to your daughter?" Luna saw the footage from her hospital bed. The television in her room flickered with the same scene over and over. Her mother, handcuffed, silent, flanked by police. The nurse tried to turn the TV off, but Luna stopped her. She couldn't look away. The woman who had once seemed untouchable, the mother who had taught her how to survive every kind of heartbreak, was now being taken away, accused of obstruction, of tampering, of knowing more than she'd told anyone. The missing child, the one Luna had believed she would hold in her arms, was still unaccounted for, not stolen, not confirmed gone forever, but lost in the shuffle of trauma and chaos. Somewhere between the hospital's transfer paperwork, a misfiled identification tag, and a system failure, the infant had disappeared without a trace. The media called it the vanished miracle. The police called it a clerical disaster. But to Luna, it was personal. It was pain that had no language. Days turned to weeks. Investigators scoured hospitals, checked flight manifests, traced adoption agencies, and black market rumors that seemed to appear from nowhere. Every lead fizzled into nothing. And while the city devoured the scandal, tabloids framing Poppy as a villain, talk shows dissecting Luna's resilience, the truth inside the Forrester walls was quieter and far more devastating. Hope Logan visited Luna almost every day, often bringing flowers or sketches from the design office to keep her connected to something creative, something alive. Steffi, surprisingly compassionate, reached out to offer her condolences, remembering her own brush with losing a child years earlier. Even Ridge stopped by once, offering a few awkward but sincere words of support. But Luna wasn't really present for any of it. She wandered through her days like someone living underwater. Everything felt muffled. The world moved, but she didn't. Her sketches remained unfinished, her coffee untouched. The once vibrant designer who had taken over the runway was now a ghost in soft hospital light. And yet, beneath that stillness, something fierce was building. She refused to let her grief destroy her the way it had destroyed her mother. She refused to let Poppy's mistakes define her. And when her doctors finally cleared her to leave, she went straight to the police station. The confrontation between mother and daughter happened in a small, glass-walled interrogation room. Poppy sat across from Luna, hands cuffed loosely, eyes rimmed with exhaustion. "I didn't take your baby," Poppy said before Luna even sat down. "Whatever they told you." "I know," Luna interrupted. Her voice was quiet but strong. "I know you didn't, but you didn't tell the truth either. You hid things. You lied to the police. You lied to me." Poppy's composure cracked. "I was trying to protect you. There are people out there who—" "No," Luna said sharply. "There's only you. You're the one who couldn't face what happened. You were so afraid of being blamed that you made yourself guilty." Tears spilled from Poppy's eyes. "I've lost everything, Luna. My reputation, my freedom, and I lost my child," Luna whispered. The silence after that was unbearable. To women, 2 generations broken by the same pattern: fear, secrecy, and silence. Outside, Taylor Hayes watched from behind the observation window. She had agreed to consult with the detectives after Luna's breakdown at the hospital. Ridge had offered her support, but Taylor was more concerned about what came next: how to help a woman who didn't need therapy as much as she needed truth. After Poppy's bail hearing, she was released under strict conditions. The media had turned vicious. The same cameras that once idolized her now labeled her the cold mother. Bill Spencer, always eager to exploit scandal, ran and exposed through Spencer Publications. Lies, loss, and the price of silence, the Nozawa tragedy. But Luna didn't hide. She faced the press herself. In a stunning move, she requested airtime on live television, standing alone at the podium, her hands visibly trembling. She didn't have a lawyer. She didn't have PR spin. She just had her story. "My mother is not perfect," she began, "but neither am I. What happened to my child is not a headline. It's not a scandal. It's a wound. And I don't need the world to decide who's to blame. I need the world to listen." She took a breath, eyes glistening. "I will spend every day searching for what was lost. Not just for the child I carried, but for the truth. And I will find it." Her words hit like an emotional grenade. The public turned. The narrative shifted. Suddenly, Luna wasn't the victim of scandal. She was the embodiment of survival. Her speech became the most replayed clip of the month. HFTF's maternity line, which had stalled amid the chaos, soared in popularity again. Hope and Ridge both insisted on dedicating the next collection to Rebirth, with Luna leading the design team. Meanwhile, Poppy, under watch but free, started her own quiet redemption. She attended therapy with Taylor. She apologized privately to Lee and to Finn for dragging the family name through the mud. But what truly began to heal her wasn't forgiveness. It was purpose. She worked with nonprofits focused on protecting mothers in crisis, using her story as a warning, a plea, and a promise. Weeks later, a new twist emerged. A nurse at a rural clinic came forward with information about a misplaced infant record matching Luna's delivery date. It wasn't confirmation, not yet, but it was the first genuine lead in months. When the call came in, Luna was in her design studio at Forrester, sketching. She froze. The pencil slipped from her hand. The sound of the nurse's voice on the line, soft, hopeful, cautious, was like light breaking through clouds. "We might have found something," the nurse said. "A baby who was transferred to another hospital by mistake. The file's incomplete, but the timing, the blood type, it matches." Luna's heart pounded. Hope, who had been working beside her, saw the color drain from her face. "Luna, what is it?" Luna turned slowly, tears in her eyes. "They think they found my baby." Hope covered her mouth, whispering, "Oh my God." And across town, in her small apartment, Poppy sat by the window, watching the news coverage. She didn't move. She didn't speak. She just cried quietly, for the first time in peace. Because for the first time since everything began, there was hope. And in the bold and the beautiful, that's where all stories begin again.